Welcome to Deep Thought, the power of a demon lover. Now, I've talked about demon lovers before on my men's channel. I think in my women's channel as well. And let's just say the theme or the issue of a demon lover came up in my circle. But here's the thing. First of all, what's a demon lover? Well, Western knowledge, science would call them a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath. And basically, they hurt people emotionally. Not good to be in a relationship with. And but they stand out from the average person, and that's more the focus today. Because you have some individuals, they're just their mindset ain't necessarily the same, but let's just say they have some gifts that anyone could use, but they just use them in a dark way. And now they're not necessarily like, when I say demon, I don't necessarily mean some metaphysical being, but that's a way of looking at their actions, very intentional. They're the types that can hurt someone intentionally. But what is their power? How are they able to hurt someone? That's the key. That's the key thing. And what they will tend to have, they're interesting. Because when I talked about them before, I said usually they will come from dysfunctional backgrounds. Usually, not all the time though. Not all the time, but very dysfunctional backgrounds. But they had two things primarily that helped them. Two things. One, highly intelligent. Even genius level intellect. And their intelligence isn't just limited to like having some information, being real smart, but being able to read people. Like a demon lover can read people. Their social intelligence is off the chain. It's like they will make excellent psychiatrists, psychologists, or something. And you could even say a few actually do that for a living. But they can read people real well, particularly their victims. And usually because they grew up in a dysfunctional environment as such that they start developing the skills. It was necessary for survival. And like I say, that's a general thing because they depending on circumstances, they could be from a well-off environment. But usually a dysfunctional thing where they have to really use their intelligence, social intelligence, to survive their more academic challenge, intelligence to get out of the situation. So you got that. But then here's the other thing that makes it real interesting. They're usually above average in physical attractiveness. I shouldn't even say usually. Almost all, well, there's always an exception. I'm saying for the most part, they're going to be above average. 99% of the time above average. Now, I want y'all to think about the power. That power. Now, think about the power of beauty. As a makeup artist told me one time, she said, beauty is a currency. It's a currency. It moves people. We're influenced by the beautiful. Let's just be real. Let's just be real. Now, I get on my men's channel, I give a lot of advice for men to develop themselves to the best extent. But let's be real. There's a lot of guys who will talk about, the Chads, the Tyrones. And then we all know, as men, we all know about how we're influenced by a beautiful woman. But that's a power in itself. It moves us. It moves us. It influences us. We're nicer to that physically attractive person. So it influences us to do things. Now, imagine a child growing up, and you could say, whether they have psychopathic tendencies, sociopath, narcissistic, they get this and they say, oh, wait a minute. People respond a certain way to them. And yeah, little boys, because, you got older women doing stuff or trying stuff. Everybody's like, oh, he's so cute. He's so this. And shoot, I ain't even put it in just the pure charisma part. That part, we won't get into that individual. Just for the demon lover, just highly intelligent, above average in attraction. And then, can read people better than a psychiatrist, a psychologist or something. And you know what? It's just a power out here because if you look at most people, let's put it like this: most people have average intelligence. Only a few people can, don't have the empathy. Only a few people have the empathy to really read another individual, really feel what they feeling, or at least be able to see what's going on. Because the demon lover don't really feel, but at least be able to say, "Oh, they doing this, this, and this." Boom. Okay. Target. Let me tap into it. Like on my woman's channel, I talked about told the ladies not to be a love bombing victim, but you got someone who's expert in it. In fact, they'll look at somebody and say, that person needs love. That person, yeah, they showing all these signs that they need all this. Let me give it to them. And then, of course, the person will probably show some interest in them because, well, look, physical attraction means a lot. For the guys who follow my men's channel, I never once said looks don't matter. Oh, they matter a lot. I just said you need something else. You need something else as well, rather. The demon lovers have it. So you got this person that's reading a person, know exactly what to say, know exactly what to do, and then the person already has a natural attraction to them. That's a powerful thing because it dips in on so many levels. It gets in there, and then they get their hooks in. I'm still convinced that the vampire myths, because, well, right now I don't know if vampires are real, but these guys come close enough, and they were probably based on like some demon lovers. They were probably based on it, but just think about the power there. The power. Just think about it. Like, I talk about stuff on here, not to always solve stuff, but to just think about the power there. Very physically attractive, highly intelligent in a social way. They know just what to say. That's scary. That is scary. And then just totally out, they do stuff just for them. Because most people, let's just be real, most people don't have personal power anywhere near. Most people don't have personal power. When I say personal power, just their very being can move people in such a way. Just like a charismatic leader, that's a power in itself. In fact, charisma had one time been considered a psychic gift. And maybe it still is in some circles, I don't know. But that's a power right there. But you influencing the people through your physical appearance, but then your emotional intelligence. Or at least you can read people. I keep saying emotional intelligence, but not with these guys. But it's I ain't gonna lie, it's both fascinating and it's scary. Because most people can't handle that. Let's just be real. Most people, somebody beautiful come in, they just lose their mind. Like I knew this young lady, and she was far from a demon lover, but she was actually a lesbian. But the way she influenced men around her was like, damn, this is just fascinating. Like guys, she could like raise an army like right away. But that was a power. Thankfully, she's a good-hearted person. But what if she wasn't? What if she wasn't? It's a fascinating thing. It's a fascinating thing. And I'm going to reiterate, this is not to say to try to be that. Because, well, I don't know what's going through their minds. And there's still a higher level. There's still something else about it I'm not saying. I'll probably never share on a recorded device. But on that basic level, that's what they're working with. In that basic level. And it's an interesting dynamic. It's interesting because you have people who I would call James Patterson supervillain. Because anybody is familiar with the Alex Cross series written by James Patterson, the bad guys will always be just slightly above the average. That always fascinates me. But something to think about. Something to think about when you see that. When you see that. So anyway, that's all I have. I'll get back with y'all later. Peace and